Welcome to Monk's Temple. As you settle in, let's begin with the most fundamental fact of your existence: you are aware. You are aware of these words, the feeling of your body, the rhythm of your breath. This awareness is not an achievement. It's your natural state, the very space in which your life unfolds. Yet, we spend our days lost in the content of this space, the thoughts, worries, and stories, forgetting the peaceful awareness that holds them. Tonight, we'll gently explore this from different angles, like walking around a lantern, each turn revealing the same warm light. Consider a modern story. Clara was a technical editor, skilled at finding flaws. Unconsciously, she began editing her own life. In a cafe, a chipped wall meant neglect. A friend's social media post highlighted her own messy life. A disagreement replayed as a script full of errors. She lived in a constant, low-grade anxiety of not quite right. One quiet afternoon, she watched a pot of water come to boil. She saw tiny bubbles form, merge, rise, and vanish in a silent dance. For minutes, there was no commentary. No Clara the editor. Just pure, sensory watching. When the kettle whistled, she felt a deep, restful peace. Nothing external had changed. She had simply stepped out of the narration booth. This is a core psychological insight wrapped in ancient Buddhist wisdom. Suffering often lies not in events, but in our permanent, critical narration of them. Peace is found in the space before the commentary begins. If this idea of finding stillness not by fixing the story, but by noticing the storyteller, speaks to you, consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. We return to this awareness together. We often feel we carry burdens, past regrets, future worries. But the weight isn't in the memories themselves. It's in the invisible, heavy suitcase we insist on carrying them in, labeled the story of me. We pack every experience inside, believing we must carry it forever, that its contents define us. A man named Ben, an avid hiker, learned this. On a long trek, his trusted backpack strap tore. Forced to stop, he emptied everything onto a rock. He needed water, some food, a jacket. But he was also carrying a heavy book, an excessive toolkit, extra boots, items for, just in case. He had packed for every imagined scenario, and it broke his back. He repacked only the essentials. The walk became joyful. He was no longer a beast of burden, but a man present in the mountains. Our mental suitcase is similar. We pack outdated identities, old hurts, and imagined future troubles, believing we must prepare for everything now. Buddhism teaches anicca, impermanence. All things arise and pass. Clinging to them, packing them permanently, creates the suffering. The practice is to regularly empty the suitcase onto the rock of present moment awareness. Examine each item. Do I need to carry this right now? You may leave much behind, not with rejection, but with a simple, not needed for this step. The relief is immediate. You are not your luggage. This touches the Buddhist principle of anatta, or non-self. It's not that you don't exist, but that what you are is more verb than noun, a process of experiencing, not a fixed thing. Imagine a candle's flame. Is it a thing? It's a continuous process of combustion, of wax melting, of energy releasing light. The flame is never the same from one moment to the next. It is a flowing event. To identify only with its fleeting shape is to miss its dynamic, luminous nature. We do this. We freeze a moment, I am the anxious one, I am the successful one, and build a rigid identity around that single frame. We suffer when life moves on. The freedom in anatta comes from shifting your sense of being from the frozen frame to the aware space watching the entire movie. You are not just the actor playing one role. You are the consciousness witnessing the play. This is the profound shift, from prisoner of self-concept to compassionate witness of your own experience. Apply this now. If a worried thought arises, notice, the worry thought is here. Feel its accompanying sensation. But also feel the chair beneath you, hear your breath. You are the context, the aware space, in which the thought is happening. It is a passing event. You are the openness it passes through. This doesn't erase the feeling, but it removes the secondary panic of believing, I am this worry. The thought loses its tyrannical power. We often live in subtle resistance, pushing against the present because it doesn't match our mental picture. We push against fatigue, boredom, difficult emotions. This is like trying to force a river upstream. It exhausts us and changes nothing. A young gardener was given a shady plot but longed to grow bright sunflowers. He fought the shade with lamps and mirrors. The plants wilted. The head gardener finally gave him shade-loving bulbs. Stop fighting the land, she said. He planted them. Months later, the plot was filled with lush ferns and delicate bell-shaped flowers, a quieter, profound beauty. He found peace not by defeating the shade, but by ending the war and working with the conditions present. Our inner landscape has its own conditions. We exhaust ourselves trying to grow sunflowers in the shade of our temperament. The Buddhist concept of dukkha, suffering, arises from craving things to be other than they are. Peace comes when we stop fighting the shade and discover what can uniquely grow within it. Let's pause. We've touched on awareness as our ground, the heavy suitcase of self-narrative, our fluid true nature, and the exhaustion of resistance. Hold these as lenses, not doctrines. Let's continue. We've touched on the aware space you are, and the stories you carry. Now, let's look at a persistent habit that builds those stories, the voice of comparison. It's a source of deep dissatisfaction, what Buddhism calls dukkha. This voice compares you to others, your present to your past, your reality to a fantasy. It is the engine of not enough. Consider Eli, a gifted cellist. During performances, he'd feel a profound unity with the music. But afterward, he'd retreat to his phone, scrolling through reviews and other musicians' videos. The warm afterglow turned cold. Her tone was pure. He got a standing ovation. The living river of music became data points to rank. He was no longer a musician in flow. He was a product manager for Eli's career, constantly benchmarking. Joy was dismantled by comparison. The Buddha taught that suffering springs from craving and aversion. Comparison is where they meet, craving to be better, averse to being where you are. The antidote isn't forced positivity. It's to notice the comparative mind and ask a simple question, compared to what? When you think, I'm behind, ask, behind whose schedule? When you feel, my life isn't as exciting, ask. As exciting as a curated highlight reel? This doesn't argue with the feeling. It illuminates the invisible, arbitrary standard the feeling uses. It reveals the comparison as a mental construct, not reality. In that recognition, you can return to the sensory truth of now, the feel of air, the sound of breath. You step out of the abstract world of ranking and into the tangible world of experience. This is mindfulness, not changing the thought, but changing your relationship to it. Let's use a new metaphor for the mind. Imagine it not as a garden or vessel, but as a vast, clear alpine lake. The water is your innate awareness, still, reflective, deep. Thoughts and emotions are weather on the surface, a wind of anxiety rippling it, a sunbeam of joy dancing on it. Our mistake is believing we are the weather. We say, "I am anxious," identifying with the ripple. Or we try to stop the rain with our hands, exhausting ourselves. The practice is to feel the lake's depth. Even when the surface storms, 20 feet down there is calm, cool stillness. You are not just the surface weather. You are the entire lake, depth included. When overwhelmed, don't fight the storm. Sense the depth of your being beneath it. Feel the solid ground of your body, the constant rhythm of your heart. This is your depth. The storm passes. The lake remains. Apply this with a story. David was terrified of public speaking. The thought triggered a cascade. Clenching stomach, racing heart, a mind chanting, "I can't." He was identified with the surface storm. For a mandatory presentation, he tried a new approach. As fear arose, he practiced feeling his feet flat on the floor. He'd noticed the fear as sensation, tightness, heat, while also feeling the floor's solidity, the chair's support. He was feeling the lake's depth while the surface was agitated. He wasn't trying to erase fear. He was expanding his identity to include the calm depth and the turbulent surface. During the presentation, fear was still there. His hands were cold. But a new, steady presence was beneath it. He could access his words because part of him was anchored in deep, still water. The goal wasn't fearlessness, it was having an inner foundation spacious enough to hold fear without being capsized. This is the psychological power of the Buddhist teaching on equanimity, upekkha. A balanced mind that can contain all experience. We often think peace is a finish line, a state when problems are solved. Buddhism frames it differently. Peace is the nature of awareness itself, accessible now. The obstacle is our compulsive, doing, mind that believes it must figure everything out. It's like being in a boat on that lake, lost in fog. We row frantically to find clear skies. But the fog is in the mind, the fog of what-ifs, of endless planning. Sometimes, the most radical action is to stop rowing. Put down the oars of mental struggle. Simply sit in the boat. Feel the gentle rock of the water. Listen. In that stopping, the fog doesn't always lift instantly, but your relationship to it changes. You are no longer a lost navigator, you are a person sitting quietly, aware of the fog. From that rest, clarity often emerges on its own, not because you chased it, but because you created quiet space for it to appear. Recall trying to remember a name. The harder you tried, the more it retreated. When you gave up and moved attention elsewhere, washing a dish, taking a walk, the name floated up effortlessly. The mind works like this. Solutions, insights, and peace arise not from the grinding effort of the thinking self, but from the receptive quiet of the aware self. Your practice is to cultivate moments of putting down the oars. Pause for 3 breaths before answering an email. Feel the water on your hands while washing dishes. In these micro moments, you aren't trying to get anywhere. You are resting in the awareness that is already here. You are touching the depth of the lake. This is meditation in motion. We carry hidden assumptions about how life should be, invisible scripts we expect the world to follow. When reality deviates, someone is rude, we make a mistake, plans collapse, we suffer not just from the event, but from the shattered expectation. Buddhism encourages inquiry into these expectations. It's not about passivity, but about seeing the script as a script, not reality's rulebook. A teacher once gave students an almond in its shell. "Open it using only what you have now," she said. Some tried to crack it with teeth. Others smashed it on the floor. One person sat quietly, observing. They found the subtle seam, applied precise pressure with a thumbnail, and it popped open cleanly. The others fought the almond based on an assumption: it must be broken by force. The one who succeeded paused, observed, and worked with the almond's nature. Our struggles are often like this. We try to force open a situation, a relationship, a goal, with blunt instruments of willpower or anxiety, based on assumptions of how it should work. Peace comes when we pause our forcing, observe the actual nature of the situation, its seams, its contours, and respond from that understanding. This is wisdom, prajna, seeing things as they are, not as we assume them to be. We've explored comparison, the mind as a deep lake, stopping the struggle, and the weight of assumptions. Carry these lightly. Now, let's explore a force that runs like a hidden current through our days: wanting. In its healthy form, it's the impulse to eat, to create, to connect. Buddhism makes a crucial distinction between this natural movement and what it calls tanha, craving, thirst. This is the wanting that narrows our world. It's not desire for a meal when hungry, but the restless search for the next thing to make us feel complete. It's the mental leaning that pulls us from the present. Consider Maya, a landscape architect who loved her work. Yet she noticed a pattern: as soon as a project began, her mind drifted to the next proposal. The present project became a box to check. The rich details, the texture of stone, the light through leaves, faded. She was living for the horizon, missing the ground underfoot. Completion brought brief satisfaction, then a hollow feeling, quickly filled by planning the next task. She was in what Buddhism describes as a hungry ghost realm, an insatiable appetite with a throat too narrow to ever feel full. Her fulfillment was always one step ahead. The shift came from a simple experiment. On her next project, she instituted a noticing hour. For 1 hour weekly on-site, she put away her phone and clipboard. Her only task was to observe, to watch how light fell at 3 p.m., to see which plants butterflies visited, to feel the soil. In those hours, the "what's next" mind grew quiet. She was immersed in the sensory reality of what she had already created. Joy wasn't in achieving, but in intimate contact with the life of the garden. Fulfillment isn't found at the destination of our wants, but in the depth of attention to what is already present. We often confuse happiness with the satisfaction of craving. They are different. Craving satisfaction is a brief release of tension, like scratching an itch, followed by the next itch. Contentment, santuti, is an okayness not dependent on scratching. It's the lake's stillness when the wind drops, not because it caught the wind, but because it remembers its own nature. We don't find this by acquiring more to want. We find it by investigating the wanting itself. Try this now. Notice any subtle wanting. Maybe a want for this talk to give you something, a want to feel different. Don't judge it. Just acknowledge it. Now, feel the sensation of wanting in your body. Is it tension in the shoulders? A leaning in the chest? A mental buzz? Feel its physical signature without buying its story. In that feeling, you are no longer the person who wants. You are the awareness that feels the wanting. In that gap, craving loses its command. You choose whether to act on it or let it be a passing energy. This is how we dethrone craving, not through suppression, but through mindful recognition. This brings us to aversion. If wanting is a leaning toward, aversion is a pushing away. It's the no we say to experience, to a difficult emotion, to discomfort, to parts of ourselves we dislike. Aversion turns pain into suffering. Pain might be a headache or loss. Suffering is the resistance we add, this shouldn't be happening. I hate this. There's a story about a therapist, Anya, who treated anxiety but held a deep aversion to her own. She saw it as professional failure. When anxious, she deployed techniques to fix it, growing frustrated if it lingered. Her aversion created a secondary layer, anxiety about being anxious. One exhausted day, she did something radical. As tightness arose, she didn't reach for a tool. She mentally said, "Okay. You can be here." She dropped the war. She allowed the physical sensations without trying to change them. The sharp panic softened. The anxiety didn't vanish, but it was no longer a monster, it was just sensations passing through the room of her awareness. By dropping aversion, she removed the fuel. The Buddha's second noble truth is clear: suffering is caused by craving and aversion. When we cease adding aversion to pain, we cease creating suffering around it. Think of a child's tantrum. If a parent reacts with their own anger, it escalates. If the parent remains calm, present, holding space, not giving in, not fighting, the child's emotion often exhausts itself quicker, feeling seen rather than opposed. Your difficult emotions are like that child. You're aware, calm presence is the parent. Aversion is the parent having their own tantrum. The practice is to meet inner turbulence with what some call unconditional friendliness. Not approval, but a basic willingness for the experience to be there. We build identities around what we push away. I am not a needy person. I am not like those people. These are fortresses built on ground we refuse to look at. They require constant maintenance. The energy spent maintaining the wall is often greater than the energy to look at the disowned part with curiosity. Integration, not exile, is the path to wholeness. Consider a tree in a storm. A rigid, brittle tree fights the wind. It resists, and if the wind is strong, it snaps. A flexible tree sways. It allows the wind through. It doesn't resist, it accommodates, using flexibility to stay rooted. Our minds can be like this. Aversion is rigidity, this feeling is unacceptable. I will not bend. Equanimity is flexibility, this feeling is here. I can feel it, sway with it, and remain rooted in awareness. Your root is your breath, your bodily presence, the knowing you are aware space. The storm of emotion is wind. You need not break. You can learn to sway. Practice rootedness now. Gently attend to the physical sensation of breathing. Don't change it. Just feel its rhythm. Expand awareness to include your whole body sitting or lying down. Feel points of contact with chair, floor, or bed. This is your root. Whatever thoughts or emotions are present, let them be wind in upper branches. Feel your solid trunk, your connection to ground. The wind may blow, but you are rooted. This somatic anchor is Buddhist mindfulness, sati. It brings you from the story of the storm into the reality of your enduring presence. We've explored craving and aversion, and begun to cultivate flexible, rooted awareness to meet them. This is about responding from deeper balance. Let's look now at a concept that is central to Buddhist wisdom but often misunderstood: emptiness. The word might sound cold or bleak, suggesting a void, a lack of meaning. But in the Buddhist context, emptiness, sunyata, points to something profoundly freeing. It doesn't mean nothing exists. It means nothing exists independently, permanently, or in isolation. Everything is interconnected, in flux, and dependent on causes and conditions. Think of a wave. Does it have its own separate, permanent existence? No. It is a temporary formation of water, wind, and gravity. It is full of water, yet empty of a separate self. This is the heart of the teaching. Our sense of a solid, separate me is like that wave. It feels real, but when we look closely, we find it's a flowing process, not a standalone thing. This isn't just philosophy. It has immediate psychological relief. Most of our suffering comes from defending this wave self, believing it's permanent, fearing its end, comparing it to other waves. We say, my reputation, my failure, my pain, as if these things are solid possessions of a solid self. The insight of emptiness loosens that grip. If the self isn't a fixed statue but a flowing river, then the things we experience aren't carved into stone either. They are passing weather in the sky of our awareness. This doesn't make experiences less vivid, it makes our relationship to them less sticky, less personal. The sharp sting of an insult, the heavy weight of regret, they are felt, but they don't define the whole sky. They are recognized as dependent events, a product of words, memory, and a temporary feeling state. They arise, and they will pass. This perspective is the antidote to taking everything so personally. Let me share a story about a man named Robert, a dedicated high school teacher. He poured his heart into his work, and his identity was deeply woven into being a great teacher. One year, he had a particularly challenging class. Despite his efforts, test scores were low, and student engagement was minimal. The end-of-year anonymous reviews were brutal. Boring. Doesn't explain well. Robert was shattered. He read the comments as verdicts on his very being. I am a failure. I am not a good teacher. I am not who I thought I was. For weeks, he carried this as a solid, heavy truth. During the summer, while visiting a butterfly garden, he watched a docent explain that a butterfly's wing, though it looks solid, is actually made of thousands of tiny, overlapping scales. If you grip it, the scales rub off, and the wing is damaged. The beauty depends on not grasping it. In that moment, Robert had a realization. His identity as a great teacher was like those scales. A beautiful, intricate pattern, but not a solid, graspable thing. The bad reviews weren't an attack on a solid self, they were feedback on a specific set of conditions, that class, that year, those methods, that moment. They were about the process of teaching, not the essence of Robert. This didn't erase the hurt, but it changed its nature. The hurt became a specific, passable emotion about an event, not a global truth about his worth. He could learn from the feedback without letting it destroy his sense of self. He understood his teaching identity as a dependent, changing pattern, not a monument. This is the practical power of understanding emptiness. It turns rigid, global suffering into flexible, specific learning. We can apply this through a simple inquiry. When you feel a strong, painful emotion, instead of getting lost in the story, "This is terrible, this proves I'm unlovable, this will never end," ask, what are the conditions for this? Look for the dependent parts. Tiredness. A specific comment. An old memory triggered. The sensation in the body. See the emotion as a composite, a coming together of temporary parts, not a solid block of truth. This inquiry itself creates space. You are no longer drowning in the wave, you are observing its components: water, wind, motion. You remember you are the ocean, capable of holding the wave without being only the wave. This leads us to another liberating Buddhist principle, the middle way. This isn't about compromise or being lukewarm. It's about freedom from extremes. Our minds love extremes. We swing from clinging to aversion, from over-identification to numb detachment, from frantic effort to complete collapse. The middle way is the balanced path of wise engagement. It's the understanding that you can care deeply without clinging, act vigorously without strain, and accept reality without passivity. Imagine a musician tuning a guitar string. If she turns the peg too little, the string is slack, no resonance, no music. This is the extreme of neglect, passivity. If she turns the peg too far, the string is too tight, it sounds sharp, strained, and may snap. This is the extreme of forcing, clinging. The sweet spot, where the string is tuned just right, is the middle way. It requires attentive listening and gentle adjustment. It's an active, dynamic balance. Our lives require this tuning. In our work, we can move between slack disengagement and tight, anxious overwork. In relationships, we can move between detached avoidance and clingy dependency. The middle way is the tuned string, engaged but not fused, committed but not desperate, present but not controlling. How do you find it? Through the same mindful awareness. You listen to the tone of your own being. Are you feeling slack, lethargic, disengaged? That's a signal. Are you feeling tight, frantic, pressured? That's a signal. The middle way is found in the moment you notice the extreme and gently adjust your inner peg, perhaps by resting, perhaps by focusing, perhaps by letting go of a mental demand. It's the practice of coming back to balance, again and again. Let's tie this to the body. We often treat the body as an object to be managed. The middle way with the body is to treat it as a partner in awareness. It's not about pushing it to extremes of fitness or neglecting its needs. It's about listening to its signals of tension or fatigue as guides back to balance. A simple practice: for the next minute, don't try to relax or change anything. Just scan through the body with gentle curiosity. Notice areas of ease and areas of tension without an agenda to fix them. This listening itself is an expression of the middle way, a balanced attention that doesn't force or ignore. It creates a dialogue of care. We have covered the freeing insight of emptiness and the balanced path of the middle way. Both steer us away from the rigid, personal suffering of a solid self and the exhausting swing between extremes. They point toward a fluid, balanced, and wise way of being. We've explored the fluid nature of self and the balance of the middle way. Now, let's turn to one of the most powerful and accessible tools in the Buddhist path, mindfulness of the present moment. This is often presented as a formal meditation practice, but its true power is as a way of living. It is the art of coming home to the reality of this breath, this sensation, this sound, instead of being lost in the abstract world of thought. The present moment is not just a point in time between the past and future. In the context of awareness, it is the only place where life is actually happening. The past is a memory, a thought happening now. The future is an anticipation, a thought happening now. When we are fully here, we are in contact with reality, not with our stories about it. Think of your awareness as a spotlight. For most of our lives, that spotlight is darting around, illuminating fragments of memory, rehearsals for future conversations, judgments, and plans. It rarely rests steadily on the simple, sensory reality of the immediate moment. Mindfulness is the gentle training of that spotlight to rest on what is actually here. Not to analyze it, not to judge it, but simply to let the light of attention fall upon it. When you do this, something remarkable happens. The noisy commentary often quietens. You are no longer thinking about your experience, you are having it. Let me illustrate with a story about a woman named Chloe. Chloe was a project manager, and her mind was a constant war room of timelines, risks, and deliverables. Even in quiet moments, her mental spotlight was scanning imaginary spreadsheets and to-do lists. She began to have trouble sleeping, her mind refusing to shut off. On a friend's suggestion, she started a simple practice, the 10 breaths exercise. 10 times a day, at random moments, she would stop whatever she was doing and pay full attention to 10 complete breaths. She didn't try to breathe deeply or change anything. Her only job was to feel the air moving in and out, the rise and fall of her chest or belly. The first few times, her mind screamed with protest, immediately pulling her back to her tasks. But she persisted. After a few weeks, she noticed something. Those 10 breaths became tiny islands of sanity in her chaotic day. During those moments, she was simply a living being, breathing. The problems still existed, but they were held in a wider, quieter space. She wasn't solving them during those 10 breaths, but she was returning to the foundational fact of her aliveness. From that place, her responses to her work began to change. They became less reactive, more considered. She wasn't just managing projects from a place of anxiety, she was responding to them from a ground of presence. The Buddhist term for this is sati, remembering. Remembering to come back from the world of abstraction to the tangible truth of the here and now. We can practice this right now. Wherever you are, allow your attention to settle on the physical sensation of breathing. You don't need to control it. Just notice it. Feel the coolness of the inhale, the warmth of the exhale. Notice the slight pause between them. For these few moments, let the breath be the sole object of your attention. If the mind wanders, and it will, that's perfectly normal. No problem. Just notice it wandered, and gently guide your attention back to the breath. This act of noticing and returning is the very heart of the practice. It's not about achieving perfect focus, it's about the faithful returning. Each return is a moment of mindfulness, a small homecoming. Now, let's expand this principle beyond the breath. Mindfulness can be brought to any activity, transforming it from a mundane task into a practice of presence. This is often called daily life practice. Consider an activity like washing dishes. Normally, we might rush through it, our mind already on the next thing, feeling the warm water but not really feeling it. A mindful approach is to slow down just a fraction. To feel the temperature of the water on your skin, the slipperiness of the soap, the sound of the clinking plates, the sight of the bubbles catching the light. You are not just washing dishes to get to a clean kitchen. You are washing dishes to be fully awake while washing dishes. In that simple, sensory engagement, the dividing line between you and the activity softens. There is just the experience unfolding. This is where ordinary life becomes contemplative. The power of this cannot be overstated. When we perform daily tasks mindfully, we are training the brain to inhabit the present. We are building neural pathways of presence that become stronger than the old pathways of distraction and rumination. We are, in effect, practicing for the bigger moments. The stressful conversation, the moment of disappointment, the surge of joy. If we can be present with a dish, we can learn to be present with a difficult emotion. The object changes, but the muscle of mindful attention remains the same. This brings us to a common obstacle, the belief that we need special conditions to be mindful, quiet, peace, free time. But mindfulness is most potent when applied in the midst of life's noise. The crying child, the traffic jam, the demanding email. These are not interruptions to your practice, they are your practice. They are the very ground on which you train. The goal is not to create a life free of disturbance, but to develop a mind that can meet disturbance with clarity and balance. Let's use a metaphor. Imagine you are learning to swim. You could practice only in a perfectly calm, heated pool. But if you want to be able to swim in the ocean, you must eventually practice with waves. The waves are not your enemy. They are your teacher. They teach you how to move with the water, how to breathe between swells, how to stay afloat even when you're tossed about. Your daily frustrations and distractions are the waves of your life. Mindfulness is learning to swim in them, to be in the experience without drowning in the story about the experience. You learn to let the wave of anger rise and fall without it pulling you under. You learn to ride the swell of anxiety until it dissipates. You are not trying to calm the ocean, you are learning to navigate it with skill. We'll end this part with a short practice to integrate this. For the next minute, choose one ordinary sensation to focus on. It could be the feeling of your hands resting, the ambient sound in the room, or the weight of your body. Give it your full, gentle attention. When your mind wanders, kindly bring it back. In this minute, you are not preparing for the future or processing the past. You are here, training the most important skill there is, the skill of being fully alive to your own life. We've delved into the practical art of mindfulness as a homecoming to the present, applicable in both quiet moments and daily waves. Let's now explore a principle that is both a profound insight and a practical guide for living: interdependence. The Buddha taught that nothing exists in isolation. Every phenomenon arises based on a vast, intricate web of causes and conditions. You are here listening because of a chain of events, decisions, technologies, even the weather. The air you breathe has been part of forests and oceans, exhaled by other beings. This isn't just a poetic idea, it's a lens that reshapes how we see ourselves and our problems. When we feel isolated in our suffering, "This is my anxiety, my failure, my loneliness," we reinforce the painful illusion of separateness. The truth of interdependence reveals that our experience is a momentary intersection in a flowing, connected whole. Consider a story about a community garden in a dense city. For years, a plot of land was a barren patch of concrete and weeds, a symbol of neglect. One person, an older woman named Rosa, began clearing a small corner, planting a few tomatoes in a cracked pot. A neighbor saw her and offered a packet of sunflower seeds. A child walking by asked what she was doing and came back the next day with a small watering can. Slowly, others joined. Someone built a simple compost bin. Another brought wooden pallets for raised beds. Within 2 years, the barren plot was a lush, vibrant garden feeding dozens of families. No single person was the creator of the garden. It arose from Rosa's initial action, the neighbor's seeds, the child's curiosity, the collective labor, the sun, the rain. The garden was a manifest lesson in interdependence. In the same way, your current state, your mood, your energy, your perspective, is not a solo performance. It is influenced by sleep, nutrition, the people you've interacted with, the media you've consumed, the weather, and countless unseen factors. Seeing this can soften self-blame and judgment. You are not a failed isolated entity, you are a dynamic node in a living network. This understanding directly combats the root of much psychological pain, personalization. We take events personally, as targeted assessments of our worth. A friend cancels plans, and we think, "They don't value me." A project meets criticism, and we think, "I am incompetent." Interdependence invites us to widen the view. Your friend canceled because of their own complex web, their workload, their energy, perhaps their own anxiety. The criticism of the project reflects the critic's background, the specific expectations of the moment, the limitations of the medium. This isn't to dismiss your feelings, but to see them in context. The event is not a bullet aimed at your soul, it is a ripple in a shared pond. This shift from, "Why is this happening to me?" to, "What are the conditions that led to this?" is liberating. It moves you from the role of victim to the role of compassionate investigator. Now, let's apply this to a challenging internal experience, a recurring feeling of inadequacy. From an interdependent view, this feeling is not a personal flaw etched into your being. It is a pattern that formed under certain conditions, perhaps childhood messages, cultural comparisons, specific failures that left a mark. It is maintained by current conditions, your self-talk, the media you consume, the situations you avoid. Seeing it this way, the feeling becomes less of a monstrous truth and more of a conditioned habit, a piece of software running in the hardware of your mind-body system. And what is conditioned can be understood, and understood patterns lose their absolute power. You can begin to ask, what conditions am I feeding this with right now? What conditions might help it to subside? This is empowered, wise action, not powerless shame. This leads beautifully into the Buddhist practice of compassion, karuna. If we are all interconnected nodes in this web, then the suffering of another is not entirely separate from our own. Their pain exists in the same field of life that we inhabit. Compassion is the natural, empathetic response to this understanding. It's not pity, which maintains separation, Poor you, down there. It is the recognition of shared vulnerability. This suffering is part of life, and I care about its easing. The classic meditation on compassion begins with wishing for the alleviation of our own suffering, then extending that wish to a loved one, a neutral person, a difficult person, and finally all beings. This practice isn't mystical, it's a psychological training in widening the circle of care, breaking down the walls of the separate self. Let's try a brief version now. Silently, in your mind, offer these phrases, feeling their intention. May I be free from suffering. May you, think of someone you easily care for, be free from suffering. May we all find peace. Notice what happens in your heart when you do this. There's often a softening, a sense of connection that counteracts the mind's habitual contraction. This is the practical heart of interdependence, actively nurturing the wisdom that we are in this together. Finally, let's reframe a common goal, finding myself. From the lens of interdependence, this search for a solid, independent self is like a wave searching for its distinctive, permanent water. It will never find it, because the wave's nature is to be an expression of the ocean. A more fruitful inquiry might be, how can I harmonize with the larger flow of life? How can I serve the health of the web of which I am a part? Purpose and meaning often arise not from isolating a self, but from engaging in relationship. To people, to work, to nature, to the moment. You don't find yourself by digging inward to a core, you discover yourself by paying attention outward, to how you connect. In giving, in listening, in creating, in tending to your part of the garden, you express your unique place in the interdependent whole. And in that expression, you feel most authentically, peacefully, you. We've woven through the interconnected nature of reality, seeing how it softens personal suffering and nurtures natural compassion. This understanding is a cornerstone for a peaceful mind. Now we arrive at a gentle but powerful cornerstone of the Buddhist path, loving kindness, or metta. This is often presented as a meditation, but at its core, it is a radical orientation of the heart. It is the intentional cultivation of a wish for well-being, for yourself and for others. In a world, and in minds, often dominated by criticism, comparison, and isolation, metta practice is like planting seeds of friendship in your own inner soil. It directly addresses the underlying sense of separation that fuels so much of our anxiety and discontent. We often believe we must feel loving or kind before we can express it. Metta turns this around. It is a practice of generating the intention of goodwill, regardless of the current feeling. You don't wait until you feel peaceful to wish for peace, you wish for peace as a way to invite the feeling. It's a psychological tool of immense power. By repeatedly directing thoughts of kindness and safety toward yourself and others, you begin to reshape the subconscious landscape. You are training the heart, much like mindfulness trains attention. Let's begin with a story about a man named Sam. Sam was his own toughest critic. A single mistake at work could fuel days of internal berating. He believed this harshness drove his success. But it came at a cost: chronic tension, sleeplessness, and a wall between him and others. On a retreat, he was introduced to metta. The first step was offering phrases to himself: may I be safe. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. To Sam, it felt foolish, even hypocritical. His mind protested, "You don't deserve this. This is weak." But he persisted, following the instructions to simply say the words, without demanding that he feel anything. After several days, something subtle shifted. During a moment of self-criticism, a new thought arose, unbidden: it's okay. You're learning. It was a voice of kindness, faint but clear. Sam was astonished. He hadn't commanded this voice. It seemed to have emerged from the repeated intention of the metta phrases. The wall of self-judgment hadn't collapsed, but a gate had appeared in it. This is the magic of the practice. You are not faking a feeling. You are setting a directional intention, like turning a ship's wheel, and over time, the ship, your heart and mind, begins to turn. The Buddha taught metta as a supreme protection for the mind because it directly counteracts the inner enemies of ill will, fear, and resentment. Let's practice a very short version now. Get comfortable. Bring a gentle attention to your heart center, the area in the middle of your chest. Don't strain. Just rest attention there. Now, silently repeat these phrases, letting the words resonate in your mind. May I be safe from inner and outer harm. May I be kind to myself today. May I accept this moment as it is. If your mind wanders, gently return to the phrases. There's no need to manufacture emotion. The intention itself is the practice. You are planting seeds. Now, we expand the circle. Bring to mind someone for whom you feel natural, easy gratitude or affection, a friend, a family member, a pet. Hold them in your mind's eye and offer the same wishes. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be at ease. Notice what happens. Often, there's a warmth, a softening. This is the heart's natural response when not constricted by fear or judgment. The true test, and great power, of metta comes with the next step, offering these wishes to a neutral person, someone you see but don't really know, like a barista or a passerby. And then, most challengingly, to someone with whom you have difficulty. This isn't about condoning harmful behavior. It's about recognizing their shared humanity, their own suffering, and wishing for the cessation of that suffering. You are wishing for them to be well so they cease to create harm. This breaks the cycle of resentment, which is a poison we primarily drink ourselves. Offering metta to a difficult person is an act of profound self-care. It frees you from the prison of bitterness. How does this look in daily life? It's the mindful shift from irritation to curiosity. When someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of fueling anger, "You idiot," you might think, "May you arrive safely," recognizing their hurry or distraction as a form of suffering. This isn't being a pushover, it's choosing not to let their action dictate your inner state. You protect your own peace. This practice aligns with a key Buddhist understanding: hatred never ceases by hatred, hatred ceases by love. This is a psychological truth. Meeting inner hatred, self-judgment, or outer resentment with more aggression only deepens the groove. Meeting it with the gentle, firm intention of kindness, metta, creates a new neural and emotional pathway. It is the ultimate form of intelligent self-defense for the mind. We can also bring metta to our bodies. So many of us hold a silent war against our physical form, criticizing its appearance, blaming it for pain, pushing it beyond its limits. Metta for the body looks like speaking to it with gratitude. Lying down to sleep, you might place a hand on your heart and think, thank you for carrying me today. May you rest and restore. When pain arises, instead of, I hate this pain, try, may this area of my body be at ease. This changes the relationship from adversarial to collaborative. Finally, let's connect metta to our earlier theme of interdependence. As you send out wishes for well-being, you are actively reinforcing your understanding of connection. You are not a separate bubble wishing well to other separate bubbles. You are a node in the network, sending a signal of care that subtly influences the entire field of your consciousness and, some traditions suggest, the collective field. Your inner kindness becomes a contribution to the whole. We'll close this part by resting in the intention we started with. In the silence of your own mind, one more time. May I be at peace. May all beings listening now be at peace. May our practice contribute to peace in this world. We have planted seeds of loving kindness, a direct practice for healing the heart's sense of separation and building unshakable inner friendship. As we come to the final part of our journey together, let's gather what we've explored, not as a conclusion, but as an open door. We began by recognizing the aware space you are, the constant, peaceful background of all your experiences. We saw how we clutter this space with heavy stories, rigid identities, and the exhausting push and pull of craving and aversion. We learned to see the mind as a deep lake, to find balance on the middle way, and to meet our moments with mindful presence. We discovered our interconnected nature and practiced planting seeds of kindness in our own hearts. This is not a linear path where you graduate from one lesson to the next. It is a circle, a compass you carry. The needle always points back to this present moment awareness. You will forget. The stories will feel solid again. The wanting and pushing will return. This is not failure. This is the rhythm of being human. The entire practice is in the gentle, persistent act of remembering. Each time you notice you've been lost in thought and come back to your breath, you are practicing. Each time you feel a surge of anger and pause before speaking, you are practicing. Each time you offer a kind wish to yourself in a moment of failure, you are practicing. This is the path, the faithful return. The Buddha's teachings are not about constructing a perfect, spiritual self. They are about deconstructing the belief in a problematic, separate self to reveal the wholeness that was never missing. You are not broken and in need of fixing. You are obscured and in need of remembering. The peace you seek is not a distant reward. It is the nature of the awareness that is reading these words right now. It has been here all along, like the sun behind moving clouds. So what now? You take this compass into your life. You don't need to change everything. Start small and concrete. Choose one daily activity, making your morning coffee, brushing your teeth, walking to your car, and decide to do it mindfully for 1 week. Just be fully there for those 2 minutes. Let that be your anchor. When difficult emotions arise, practice feeling them as weather in the sky of your awareness, or as waves on the surface of your deep lake. Experiment with offering a simple metta phrase to yourself when you feel most critical: may I be kind to myself in this. This is a path of integration, not escape. You are learning to live in the world from a place of inner groundedness. The waves of life will keep coming. But now, you are learning to sense the depth of the ocean within you that remains undisturbed. You are learning to be the spacious sky that holds all weather. Thank you for spending this time in the quiet space of Monk's Temple. This is not goodbye, but an invitation to return, to this audio, to these teachings, and most importantly, to the quiet awareness within you, whenever you need a reminder of home. As we end, let's rest together for a few final moments. Let go of all concepts and guidance. Simply be. Feel the life in your body. Listen to the silence between sounds. Notice the aware presence that is effortlessly knowing all of this. This is what you are. This is where peace resides. Carry this knowing gently into your night and your days ahead. May you be well. May you be peaceful. May you be free.